There you go. So good evening, everyone. For those who have not met me, my name is John Tabor. I'm the president of Loudon Photo Club, and we are here tonight for our December competition with the theme of shadows. And tonight we have a guest judge as usual. And tonight it is Walt Callahan. And photography has been his passion, well, whether it's for advertising, corporate annual reports, lateral publications, magazines, websites, simply for the personal joy of viewing with the world with a camera. His photographic career has taken him under the Atlantic Ocean aboard a U.S. Navy Trident submarine, down lava tubes in Idaho, and the Navy apparently, down lava tubes in Idaho, in the surgical clinics for Afghan refugees, canoeing the Okefenokee Swamp of Georgia, and the great northern woods of Canada. Has been launched off the deck of a U.S. Navy carrier, celebrated children learning to tap dance, as well as the tumult of a Romanian revolution. The magazines have used his work include National Geographic Society, the New York Times Magazine, Boy's Life, Time, Fortune, Business Week, Smithsonian, and more. General Electric, Yamaha, American Express, Carroll Lutheran Village, Messiah College, the Washington Performing Arts Society, several other businesses have taken advantage of his publications for illustration and advertisement. He's an adjunct instructor. He teaches both digital and film photography for Stevenson University and McDaniel College's art departments, ensuring a love for photography in the next generation of image makers. Walt graduated with honors from Syracuse University's Newhouse School of Public Communications with a Bachelor's of Science in Photojournalism, and he earned a Master of Liberal Arts degree specializing in the creative process from McDaniel College. Tonight, Walt Callahan.
And don't ask me to spell anyone's name correctly on the coffee cup at Starbucks.
So I am going to share my screen here. So Walter, can you confirm you can see my screen?
Well, right now I just see all the names, whatnot. I have not.
That's because I have to click the actual.
There you go.
All
Marvelous.
right, we've got that out of the way. Now move that little bar. So here we are. I'm going to bring up the first gallery of the evening. Novice color.
Novice color and shadows.
That is correct.
Shadows, okay. Oh, interesting.
Okay, we're back at the beginning.
This is a beautiful image, but I consider it more kind of a semi-silhouette than it is regarding shadows cast. There is some shadowing on the sand. It looks like a flash went off there, or some sort of device reflecting some of that bright sun back into the sand, but I don't think it really fits the category of shadows per se, compared to the other examples in this collection right now. Silhouette is different than shadows, and shadows are so important for creating a three-dimensional illusion. And so here, mostly with silhouette, we have a flattening of the field. So I'm gonna, I don't think this was correctly selected for this contest. Now, this is where we get into the three-dimensional illusion. I really like that the photographer did not keep with the aspect ratio of their camera. In fact, I probably would suggest you crop down even more to the top of the tree lines, give us a lot less blue, and give us more of that wonderful rich sand in the foreground. This way you'll really get a three-dimensional pop going. But this is very nicely seen. I like it a lot. And here the classic self-portrait through shadow, very dramatically created. The light coming almost directly from behind the photographer. It does need a little post-production help. I love the drama of the asymmetry of the mountain, coming up, but the bright area of that one snowfield it needs to be toned down. Also, I would suggest cropping down from more of the blue sky out of there. It's just not necessary. Here is more reflection than shadow. Again, I have a problem with the interpretation of the project with this entry. It's similar to the first entry where we have a silhouette, and here we have beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous reflections. And if this was a category called reflections, I would praise it up and down. If you eventually do have a category called reflections, I would recommend cropping down from the top down into the tree of lights a little bit, not all the way down to the peak of the building, but bring it down a bit so that the building raises up in the frame and becomes more in line with the rule of thirds. The body of the building you should have up on that upper third. And I think you'll get a lot more punch out of this picture with that slight compositional change. And now here is a gorgeous example of the three-dimensional illusion, along with the interesting pattern of the wood that mirrors the shadowing going on. And I really, really like this a lot. Very nicely seen, strong shadow. Again, I would even, just a nitpick, just to come down a little bit more to the top of the bird's head, not right on the bird's head, but really think tightly about your crops. You don't have to stick to the aspect ratio of your camera. Come down a little bit, and then I would also recommend in post-production kind of doing a layer mask on the water and the foamy wave kind of break going back there, just to tone that down a bit. But the bird and the shadow on the concrete is exquisite. Here is just poetic. This is just a wonderful, elegant, poetic picture, beautifully composed, well exposed. Everything about it I love. I love this for a portrait. You don't see fox stoles that often anymore. The shadow, though, kind of gets lost on that tree. For this sort of competition where it's shadow, I probably would have had her step away from the tree just a smidgen, maybe make this a horizontal instead of a vertical, so that we have a strong shadow cast on the tree, but some sort of separation between her hair and the tree. We're losing that critical separation where we don't know where the hair ends and the shadow begins. Also, there's something going on in the lower left, sort of like some sort of folded something or other coming in. And that's these little distractions pull away from the absolute gorgeous light that is falling on her face. So that's my suggestion here. Here it's about light, it's not about shadow. You have an interior darkness, but that's not necessarily how I see shadow as a cast shadow. You have the brighter sort of barnwood in the foreground. It's just, I feel like I'm missing some critical details here to understand the scene completely. And again, it's about strong shadows, and I'm not seeing a shadow here. Okay, so that leaves me with the window as first place. The bridge as second place. Do we have to have, is enough entries here to have an honorable mention? Sometimes I've been in clubs where it's
well,
not enough.
Let's put it this way. So officially it's the first, second, and third, but if you feel strongly for an honorable mention, we will take it under advisement.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because I judge other contests where sometimes there's not enough entries to warrant an honorable mention just for second, third. So I'm going to give the Pelican, the third, and the self-portrait shadow of the mountain as an honorable mention if you have that in your budget.
We can certainly include that. I mean, after all, we get to make it up as we go if we need to. But tonight, the honorable mention goes to Susan Berry. Here tonight.
And she has to master Snapseed and get toned down that mountain with the snow on it with her iPhone.
Get my participants list back up. Is Susan with us tonight? Yeah, Susan's online.
Yes, I am. I'm
There
sorry.
you are.
Yes, and believe it or not, I did tone it down as much as I could and then it started turning gray.
I see that. Yeah.
So I wasn't real sure. Maybe I should have just cropped it out.
No. What you could do, Susan, at the time of doing the picture is swipe down a little bit on your exposure so that you get your highlights correct. And then in post-production, bring out the shadows with your, bring out the detail in the darker areas so that we actually see your shadow.
Got it.
You would touch the screen to lock the focus on your shadow, say, where your head is. And then you get the little sun icon next to the box, and you would go to a minus to bring them that mountain down to a correct tonality. And then in post-production, fix everything else. Digital photography is very much like photographing transparency film. You always expose for the highlights and then rescue the shadows later.
Okay.
And then if you upgrade from the iPhone 7 Plus, the AI technology in the iPhone 13 and 14 is stunning to fix all this stuff without as much hands-on correction.
I actually, that was an iPhone photo from, and I forgot that it was an iPhone photo. I do have a Canon R5, so next trip.
Well, but we all have our cell phones, so it's sort of like I use my cell phone all the time to take pictures, but you just have to be aware of their limitations.
Right.
So we were talking before we got started. So we do have a guest that has joined us tonight, and we were talking about, the best phone is the one you have with you, right? And here's an example where, sure enough, a camera phone has caught a placing image. So well done.
Yeah, I mean, I was at Walmart today shopping for new eyeglasses, and I was walking around the store because the optician was on a break, and the only thing I had on me was my Google Pixel 7 Plus or Pro. I mean, it's a new phone that came out this fall, and I made a stunning picture in the back with this inflatable Christmas soldier back amongst the detritus of a non-used area of Walmart, and made for a comical picture of. And I wouldn't be traipsing around a store like that with the Sonys or Nikons or Canons, but no one would blink an eye. You picking up your cell phone and taking a picture.
Right.
So third place tonight, we have Susan D'Anfranzio.
Thank you. So that was in Galveston, Texas, and just walking along a pier there, and a very, very friendly pelican. And what I liked about this, I'm not really good at doing post-production yet, but what I liked about it was him looking straight at the camera, but then in the shadow, you can see his beak or his bill. So, but thank you.
Very well done. Second place tonight. Again, Susan.
This is the iPhone. This was, of course, was before we ever picked our categories, but I loved this when I saw it because where the shadows fell, the ice did not melt off the bridge. So it was just sort of I just loved it. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for explaining the mystery of this white area. I was trying to think about it as sort of a bleached out area, as if that I didn't realize that was ice. But you're absolutely right. It's the magic of the nature presenting itself this way.
Right. So thank you very much.
And you couldn't have made a better picture on any other camera other than a larger file size if you were shooting with a Canon, a Nikon, Sony, Panasonic, whatever.
Yeah, like you said, you just carry that around, and all of us that love photography, we're just going to shoot what we see right then and there. So
Exactly.
appreciate it. Thank you.
First place tonight, Kristen D'Ambrosio.
It's like the Dion Frazios are sweeping novice categories. So thank you guys so much for this. I actually shot this one on film, my Minolta X700, and this is up at Walden Pond in Massachusetts. That's the recreation of Henry David Thoreau's cabin, and just the light coming in through the window felt very philosophical, and I just wanted to capture that.
I was looking at the bedding there, wondering if Thoreau's mother was still doing his laundry.
Right, right. Yeah, I thought the same thing. So yeah, thank you so much for the feedback on it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I did see that we had a question in chat. So Jack, which image were you asking about?
Oh, where is
I was trying to unmute. The Susan Berry mountain, yeah, that one.
Oh, that's
one?
in Iceland.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it did not look like anything I'd seen in North America, but thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to take that first place image, drop it. Go. Now we're going to bring up novice monochrome. This category is 8 images, which gives us a first and second place. All right, we're back in the beginning.
This has a definite Todd Hido creepy feeling. If you know that fine art photographer, looks like Colonial Williamsburg or something I would see there. I like this a lot. It has all the right atmosphere. It has the Halloween cast shot of the tree on the side of the building. You have backlight going on. You have reflected light in the picket fence in the foreground, and then the cast shadow of the fence on the building. It's just, yeah, it's a nice complete package. This is a little bit cliche, even though it's probably Iceland again. It could be Greenland because, Greenland is actually more icy than Iceland, but that's my sense of humor. Yeah, I mean, I would love to take this picture if I were visiting Iceland. It's appropriate. It's a great memory of you driving by these beautiful ice fields and the volcanic mid-Atlantic ridge uplifts of basalt and all of that cool stuff. So yeah, it's a really nice picture. This is a silhouette again. It's not, yes, the cat is in shadow, but it's not really the use of shadows, as I mentioned in the other category. Gorgeous picture. I mean, who doesn't like a cat picture up in a window like this? I just don't feel it fits as precisely as I vision the category as we see in other pictures. Now here is great. Actually, this is a great example of what inspired photography in the beginning. The idea of a projected image that we now call photography was first written down by a Chinese philosopher in the 5th century BC during a solar eclipse. 100 years later in Greece, Aristotle experienced a solar eclipse and saw the same effect of the sunlight from the solar eclipse being defined by the pinholes between the leaves of a tree and casting these amazing patterns on the ground. And that's where we come up with this idea that both those authors planted a seed that later germinated to become the idea of photography. And so this fits right in with that great tradition. And that one key leaf that's popping out of the light right there is really a great placement for an eye anchor. It's off center. I applaud that, it's off center, but it gives us a place to measure the size of everything, because we all know the size of a tree leaf. So now we have a sense of the rocks, you know, the gravel, everything else. Great shot. This I like in the sense that it's a cast shadow at night. And if you know, oh goodness, what's his name? I think it's Michael Keenan or Michael, oh, I'm blanking. He's a Scottish photographer. He does a lot of night photography using the ambient light of, you know, artificial light, casting shadows, and this, Michael Kenna, that's it. Look him up. He's just masterful at this. And so this again is a great example of seeing shadows, but not in the daytime. I love this as well. I just, you know, this is perfect for this category. Just everything about it is really, really cool. And I chuckled when I first saw this because I realized the shadow of the photographer with their smart device copying a picture of this very fun primitive painting. You know, the painting is marvelous, and then including the actual observer in it is great fun too. I don't think it was as strong artistically as the other pictures we've seen that I've praised, but I do like how the photographer included their cells in with the painting. Really well done. Again, the cast shadows on the ground and showing the trees that create it. Really a very rich, enjoyable photograph. Okay. So the pool picture with the cast shadows of the chairs, I really think should be the first place image. And then we're going to go with the ground with all the gnarly geometry and the leaf. Now, what do I feel is the strongest? My biggest problem with the night picture of the cast shadow on the building is at the top. I still would love to see a little more openness, a little more separation in the between the roof line and the blackness. I think it'd be a little brighter that way. But I'm going to go with the two people walking under the trees as third place.
Okay. Starting with third place winner tonight. Tammy Smith. Is Tammy with us? Does not appear that she's on. Let her know. Second place, Kristen again.
Thank you again. This one I think I did with my iPhone. This is up at Morven Park. Right now they've got this thing going on called like the Harry Potter Forbidden Forest experience. And you can walk through and it's all, decorated like it's Harry Potter. And the way that the lights were hitting the trees on the ground just created this like spider web of shadows with the trees. And I loved it. So thank you.
Well done. And first place, Susan D'Ambrosio. You ladies are sweeping it.
And upgraded to an iPhone 13.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we want to say thank you to everybody because we learn so much from listening to all the positive reinforcement you give us, all the critique. So I think every time you take a picture, we're learning a little bit more, like do this, do that. This was a spur of the moment. It was on a ferry going to Martha's Vineyard. And I knew we had shadows as a category. And I saw that and I said, I have just got to capture that. And I really loved it too.
Well done.
Is the ferry out of Woods Hole?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've been on that ferry then. Good.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, so again, I need to take this Best in Show Gallery. Are moving up to intermediate color. And again, with 9 images, officially a first, second, and third place tonight. Okay, back at the beginning.
This is bravo. We've all seen these cast shadows on curtains and whatnot. I guess the only thing that could improve that is if there was a kitten on the other side climbing up, tearing its nails into the curtain itself, creating something that was asymmetrical to this pattern. Even though the pattern itself is asymmetrical, that would be the only serendipity thing that no one could predict happening. But yeah, this is a wonderful example of being able to show 3 dimensions. I can't tell you in drawing classes that I've taken how hard it is to draw folded fabric. And believe me, my teachers had us doing it a lot. And photography is such a gift to be able to render something like this so much more easily than to draw it by hand. Now, this one made me chuckle only for photo history. Alfred Stieglitz had a daughter from his first wife, and there's a portrait of her that's not so, it's kind of spooky, eerie, and considering the history that Uncle Al had, it has her, I can't quite remember how she's posed, but what stands out in the picture is this sort of wallpaper kind of Dutch figure on the wall to her left as we look at the picture. And that Dutch figure is holding a knife and it's aimed at Stieglitz's daughter. And considering that she ended up being institutionalized for life and that the family didn't trust Uncle Al around any of the family children. I'll just leave it at that, but maybe you'll be able to read between the lines. Yeah, this picture immediately, when I saw that sort of knife blade coming down on the cast shadow, it reminded me of the picture that Stieglitz took of his daughter. So very, very yes, that nightmare psycho feeling dates back way before the movie was ever made. Here, I think the focus, though, is a little off. The key here is, even if you are doing still lifes of figures, you need to focus on the figure's eye. It's just, we look people, we look animals, and we look statuary in the eye if there's a face to it. And I'm just thinking that this doesn't quite look as sharp as I would like it to have been. This is gorgeous. You know, it's both the cast shadow as well as the refracted light as the eyeglasses are bending the light. And yeah, it's a wonderful treatment. Now that I, kind of reading this, you have to be really aware of key words when you have anything that's printed in your photograph. And for me, what's standing out, what jumped out at my eye instantly, is the word Christmas. And the photographer, doesn't matter what they believe, or it's the word is known in the English language. And so it might have helped you a little bit if the focus was placed on Christmas instead of some of the foreground words, such as yoga students and whatnot. Here, again, it's like the car shadow against the ice and snow. It's a good memory of your vacation type of trip. The trouble with sometimes with cast shadows like this is that you see that the sand where the shadow is in sharp focus, but due to the nature of the light bending around the camels and the riders, the actual shadow kind of, as it goes away from you, it goes out of focus. And so even though that's a natural phenomenon, the background's in focus, the foreground's in focus, what detracts is when you have a shadow coming towards you, it tends to stay sharper in the image than when it's retreating from you. And so if someone looking at this, the first inclination, even though this is accurately portrayed, is someone would rather see those camels more sharply defined, even though physically this is a perfect, accurate rendition of what you were seeing. This is drop dead gorgeous. I mean, this has all the poetry, and it allows your eye to wander because you have this built-in sort of random grid line of car, these like tractor paths or mowing paths or pickup truck paths, whatever is creating these lines and this gorgeous undulation. This is like the fabric or the curtain picture in the first image we saw, but much more wow factor because it's out there in nature. And this is gorgeous. I love this, seeing the simplicity. Everyone, we see in grids, that's why the rule of thirds works in our brain. And when you have natural cast shadows offering the grid, it just helps us spend more time in the photograph. If this was a cloudy day, we wouldn't want to spend time looking at all the detail, but because we have this natural pathways, created by the shadows, you will spend much more time with this image looking at all the nooks and crannies. Lovely shot. Again, see how the shadows coming at you are more believable than when they go away from you. Backlight is like that, and And this is a pretty autumn picture. It needs something there to make it stronger. But again, it does give you the feeling that the shadows are coming at you. And so as they dissipate and they get softer as they get closer to you, they're more believable than when the camel shadows are going away from us. And this I know is shadows, but I am so disoriented. I don't know what I'm really looking at. It's a good experiment. You know, when you see something, shoot it. It doesn't matter if it's working perfectly in the camera. We all have to experiment. We all have to see light in its unique ways. But I don't find that, even though this was a good experiment, I don't think it's as strong as the other ones because we really don't have a reference point to put it in context. And here is, I understand the idea of the multiple exposure as the gentleman is either moving towards or away from us in these three layers of the man in the picture. But again, they're more silhouette than they are shadows. This is actually a little stronger in the sense of you can overlay these images of the man walking in the scene and understand that they have a shadowy kind of feel. But again, I think I'm being very, very strict, I guess, maybe. I love doing, I have done this type of work with strobes fired sequentially with things moving so that you have overlaying layers of different shapes and whatnot. Here, I don't think the scene itself lends itself so well for this picture. I think you need to be lower so that the man, so with the horizon line that he's standing on in the distance, if that were lower, you didn't have all this kind of sagebrush stuff. And then you had the other two shadowy forms coming up into the sky so that the top of his head was at the very top of the picture. I think you'd have a lot more drama looking up with your point of view. This right now, the point of view is too much eye level with the final figure off at the distance. Okay.
We get with 9 images, we first, second, and third.
Right. The first is the greenery. Whoops, what happened? There you go. And the second is the interior of the decayed sort of factory. And then the curtains is your third.
Very good.
Yep, that's the third.
Third place, Daryl Anzi.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the feedback. Yeah, I took this photo. I'd come home one evening and looked at this is a curtain in my master bedroom and the railing, and I was like, I got to go grab my camera because it looked like an interesting pattern. So, and you mentioned the fabric that I was trying to capture, so I'm glad you were able to see that.
Well done. Second place, Dan Gerard. I don't. So we'll let him know. Sure. And first place this evening, again, Dan Gerard.
I'm seeing a lot in the metadata here. I recommend everyone go into the cameras, you know, unless it's the iPhones. But here we have this wonderful D750 and the color space is sRGB and it should be Adobe RGB. Everyone just go in, when next time you grab your camera, change that color space.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit more range on your colors.
A lot
Not
more.
as good. So well done, Dan. Let him know for sure. So let me do this. We'll move to best show. Move on. Intermediate monochrome. 6 items we get. Remind myself with 6 items, we get first and second. Back at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I already know that this is first place. This is just so dramatic, having this worker walking along the side of a, I don't know, a ship or some sort of industrial wall. Just, beautiful symmetry of the line down the center with the asymmetry of the man on one side, the simpleness of the right side versus the complexity of the left side. The strong diagonal of the man's shadow, cast shadow going across through the middle. Everything about it is just gorgeous. Glass is really, really tricky to photograph. And I'm seeing lots of circular specularities in those glasses, which shouldn't be there. It's just, light has, all I can say is glass is a real headache for photographers. And I love the cast shadows. In fact, I would probably suggest if you had removed the wine bottle and repositioned the glasses so that you were shooting straight down on them, then you wouldn't have these harsh specular dots dancing around the glass, and you would have the strong cast shadow effect on the carpet or cloth or whatever is there. But glass photography is a real skill, a real advanced art form in and of itself. So as an intermediate photographer, hats off for trying it. I really, really, if you could find someone, I do teach an advanced class a digital class at Howard Community College now. And when it used to be in classroom, I would teach how to do glass photography correctly. Sadly, with the pandemic and whatnot, the advanced class is now done online. And so I have had to scrap all the advanced studio lighting stuff because people don't have the stuff at home. Here, it's just, again, I don't have a reference. There's so much that's fuzzy. I mean, again, it's always worth experimenting, but this, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Beautiful, beautiful. And in fact, I would recommend, if I were there again, I would bring the crest of that road much higher in the frame and include much more of the road. Celebrate what's really going on here, the undulating cast shadows on the road. You don't need all these telephone poles and trees and whatnot. Bring that horizon line to the almost very tip top of the frame and celebrate the length of all these cast shadows. Gorgeous, and this is my second place picture. The shadowy cast shadows on the water from the reeds coming out. It just, it's backlit. You got the cast shadows coming straight towards you with a little ripple effect in there. So just gorgeous. And again, when I ask people to photograph shadows, I really tell them, try to avoid having your light source in the picture as much as possible. The star on the top of the Christmas tree, it becomes a picture of the star on the Christmas tree, and the shadows on the ceiling become second to that strong iconic image. So it's more of a picture of light than it is of a light and form than it is of shadow. Okay. That's your first, and then the
I keep forgetting to come off mute. So no need to talk about your first place, right?
well, but bring the reeds there. Bring that over into second place.
Second place.
There we
third.
I thought you.
Sorry, yeah, first second. Yeah, first and second. You're right. You're right. Second place winner tonight is Dan, who is not with us.
Yeah, there's that damn sRGB again.
And first place, Daryl. Tell us about
Thank
this
you.
one.
So I took this from, this is at Uvarhazy. I took this from the control tower, and that's a repairman on the roof of the main building. They were doing a bunch of patch-up works, and I saw him and I saw the shadow, and I said, I have to take a picture of that. So thank you. Appreciate the feedback.
Mhm.
Obviously worked very well.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't take anything better than that. That's an advanced picture.
Oh, and moving on to experienced color. Got quite a few in this one. And with 18 images, we get a first, second, third, and 2 honorable mentions.
Sure.
Top 5.
Okay, we'll just let it go. May I play through?
Back at the beginning.
Okay. Yeah, this looks like a multiple exposure of silhouettes. It's well done, but again, I'm not seeing it as strongly as a shadow picture because I don't have a reference to the light creating a shadow. I'm seeing people in silhouette. Here we suffer from the same problem as the shadow goes away from us, it goes out of focus. So the human form loses its head. It's a good memory that I was, you're there. There's your shadow. You should take that picture, but we have stronger in this category. Interesting studio. I think the rear projection in the blue really overwhelms the item in the foreground with the cast shadow going off to the right. So that blue area is just so big and strong. I'm almost thinking that the photographer needed to get the camera lower so that the redness of the fruit kind of floated in the silhouette in the sea of blue. It would have been more abstract. We wouldn't have to compete with the butcher block table there. Hats off for someone owning a drone bee to have it perfectly float in there as a shadow against that leaf. I'm going to have to go to B&H Photo and start buying some drone bees so I can deliberately get these things to be exactly where I'm. I'm being facetious here. It's just so lucky and so wonderful to see that. Lovely picture. I loved the shadow of the little ladybug, but you came right after that bee picture, and the blankness of everything else about this. It's a great close-up. It's a nice encyclopedic picture of a ladybug, but the other picture we just saw with the bee silhouette with the flower, it transcends everything. Nice backlight, nice shadows coming at you. I would actually crop down into the treetops. You don't need to leave all that. I would crop down to the tree on the right there, the dominant tree on the right. That top of that tree is where the crop line should be. Raise that sun higher up in the frame and you'll have a more successful picture. Again, here, either work with the shadow in the foreground or ditch the shadow altogether. Too many elements work up all in one frame where, you know, the Washington Monument is such an icon. The eye goes directly to it and we don't even pay attention to the shadow of the cherry blossom tree in the walkway in the foreground. Love this. It reminds me of like a New Mexico adobe hole in the ground. But all the intersecting angles are just really gorgeous. That, again, gorgeous, beautiful, undulating countryside. I don't know where that is, but it'd be a great place to hang out. Perfect time of day when that low light creates those soft, curvous mounds. Just gorgeous. If you're a golfer, this makes me smile. I'm not a golfer, but I covered a lot of golf as a magazine and newspaper photographer. So the first thing I thought I always wanted to do, and of course you would never do it, is covering like the US Open. I covered a couple of US Opens, and it'd just be fun to have a couple of golf balls in your camera bag and toss them out there and totally confuse the players which one's theirs. So when you see this putting green with all these golf balls there, it made me smile in my own mischievous nature. I think it would be better if you got rid of the sun. You know, just get down, crop down lower, angle down lower, and just play, simplify. The hardest thing in photography is to simplify the scene without making a simple picture. We want the viewer to get it instantly. And this had tremendous potential, but it needs simplification. Holding up your camera and doing your self-portrait with your cell phone against your chest, it's not as strong as, especially with the kind of post-production filter applied to it. Not poo-pooing filters and this and that if they're done to enhance the picture, but here it's not as interpretive as the other really stunning pictures we've already seen. I hope that's a friendly rooster. We have a couple of roosters that look like this, and they seem to be very friendly. But my neighbors had a trio of roosters that we called the Three Amigos, and they were just so nasty. They would attack you from behind all the time. So I have a very intimate relationship with chickens in my life. It's a work in progress here. I think the shadow is good. It's just, there needs to be a little more interpretation here. Maybe follow the chicken around some more, get the, just seeing if you had more variety to experiment with. It's basically, it's too literal. With the rooster's shadow fading into the natural darkness from other cast shadows, it diminishes the shadow to the point where you don't even notice it. All you're doing is looking at the rooster. And if that's the case, make it a vertical picture of the rooster. Gorgeous. And I mean, again, I got to go to the five and below store and buy tree frogs, you know, little rubber tree frogs, and put them in my scenes, and I'll be as good as this photographer. But it reminds me of a joke I just saw of a frog talking to a young lady saying, "Kiss me and I'll turn into a prince." And the young lady says, "I'm not going to kiss you. I'd rather have a talking frog." Nice cast shadow on the water, beautiful. Heron, they are so wicked hard to photograph. We have blue heron on my property up here in Carroll County, and I have yet to get a good picture because they're so aware of every little sound that by the time I bring the camera up to my eye, they're gone. I hear them. I hear the flap of the wings, and they are going in complete opposite direction from me to make a good picture. So I really like this picture. Gorgeous, not so much in the sense of shadow. I do see the shadow, but this is more what we would call a chiaroscuro study of lightness to darkness. And so, yes, you have the shadowing happen around the zebra's face, but it's more this is more of a study of light to dark than study of shadow. And so, which is brilliant. I mean, that's why the Renaissance artists use chiaroscuro lighting. It's a gorgeous picture. Once I kind of figure out where the categories lie, it'll probably be included, but it's not as strong as the true shadow pictures we've seen. Nice interior, industrial kind of picture. It's more about the light streaming in and the way the light is catching the dust in the air than it is about shadow. But there are plenty of shadows, and it's a wonderful, wonderful sense of geometry. But I think we've seen stronger in the use of shadow. This again is too shot from the eye level of someone walking as opposed to being interpretive. That's what we need. I love the shadows on the ground, but if that's going to be your dominant theme of this picture, it needs more interpretation that accentuates the shadows. Here, it's more about the vanishing point leading our eye to that fountain. And the shadows are really not even secondary to the picture. This needed some more interpretation. The crop in the camera is a bit awkward. I would suggest you don't need the tree. I mean, I would have gotten much more into the building, and just with that, you don't need the blue sky and the tree. Get rid of that, and you have a better picture. Okay, we're back here.
Back at the beginning, and top 5.
Yeah. So, I'm going to go with the grain elevator farm landscape as number 1. Then the bee picture, the silhouette of the bee, the shadow of the bee and the flower. Then the tree frog on the leaf. Honorable mentions, I would have the sort of basement adobe kind of feeling here, as well as the, you said only 2 honorable mentions?
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really, really twist my arm, I might let you talk me into a third.
Yeah, because I'm torn between the zebra and the blue heron, and I would really love to see both of them get recognized. Right. In fact, the shadows in the Adobe is probably my third favorite of the honorable mentions. That fits more in line with the theme of shadows, but as just a strong photograph, the cast shadow of the bird and the shadowing on the zebra's face much stronger.
Okay. Honorable mention of the evening goes to Ilya. I saw you.
Hi.
There you are.
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, thank you. Yeah, this actually is an abandoned hut in New Mexico, just outside of Socorro, New Mexico. Just an old, hole in the ground, clay hut, and there was the wood on top of it was casting the shadows down into it. It was kind of cool. So thank you.
The nail really helped it.
The nail, right. Yeah,
Well done.
thank you so much.
And Denise is not online. Definitely let honorable mention. Other honorable mention tonight.
Yeah, I'm here. It's Ken
Yep.
Lane.
Ken.
Yeah, I have lots of blue heron pictures, but this one I took down at Gatorland. I was on one of the towers down there, and so I was kind of looking overhead, and it was a good shadow. It was a bright sunny day and dark water, and I thought it was pretty cool the way the shadow was so dark below it. Usually you see reflections and not shadows.
Third place, Beth Fetter. Who's Beth? Is
So this was at Huntley Meadows, and we were taking pictures of tree frogs all morning long. That was pretty much the only thing we saw on the boardwalk. And so this guy at first had his head peeking out, and then he saw all of us and retreated back full blown onto the leaf, so casting a shadow.
I believe we're on second place now.
Charles Walker.
Does not appear to be with us tonight. First place, Jeff Burke, who is, I believe, with Denise. He's not with us, but I'm certain this is a scene from the Palouse in Washington.
From the where?
At the Palouse region of Washington. He titled it the Palouse as well.
Okay.
That gives it away. Yep. All right.
Not been to that part of Washington State.
Congratulations to all the winners tonight. Okay. And our final gallery of the evening, 13 images. Let's just get a first, second, third, and
First, second, third only.
first, second, third, plus an honorable mention.
Thank you.
Top four. Okay, we're back at the beginning.
Right. Okay. Again, more of a silhouette of a sunrise here. We're not really seeing a shadow of the boat. The boat is more, just silhouetted. We do see the darkening of the waves and whatnot, creating shadow, but not as significant as far as the other images in this category. Again, a studio kind of silhouette. Two just single dimensional, it's just a 2D sort of cutout. It actually, this sort of look predates the photographic process. I forget what the technique was called, but they would have someone's profile thrown as a cast shadow onto a piece of tracing paper, and then it would be drawn and then cut out and then collaged together on paper to have a realistic profile of a human being. So this does have a relevance in the history of photography, but I don't think it's as strong as other work we've seen. This is gorgeous. I mean, the only thing I would do is, the building in the background, in that little cutout in the trees, they're leaning over a little bit. I would just straighten up the architecture back there, so it's has some architectural plum going on. But it's gorgeous light, gorgeous shadows. This is also gorgeous. Not as easy to read as the previous picture, but I'm glad the photographer is thinking and seeing. This is an example of the dappled light of shadows, but it really is a portrait of this man, then a study of shadows. So I love the picture, but I don't think it's as strong as some of the other images in the category. Again, backlight, silhouette, it just needs some other element there to something in the, it's almost as if we crop up from the bottom. There's too much blankness from below. It needed a little bit more work when shooting, more variety of shots of the same kind of effect. This is sort of like an egret coming. It's not as successful as the blue heron in the color category. The shadow is not as well defined, and so it's sort of like a big black hole as opposed to a beautiful defined image of the bird in the water. And it could be that the water was just a little too rippled that day. Again, this is getting back to the zebra picture of what is shadow versus chiaroscuro lighting from window light. Gorgeous picture of the cat. And I love this, the highlight in the eye from the window. It's really well done. I love this shot. I mean, goodness, to have that bird there and then the three pigeon or other eagles or whatever the other birds are, maybe the turkey vulture there because of the feathers at the end of the wings, the middle shadow there. I don't know what the birds are, but yeah, I love the interplay of a real bird and then the shadow boxing birds. Again, this is more like the cat or the zebra picture of the chiaroscuro light wrapping around the giraffe. And this just made me smile. Again, I would like to see the building in the background just tweaked a little bit more so it's plumb. But yeah, how many of us have walked through a parking lot and you have this one lone shadow of a tree parked in a parking place? It adds great humor. I might end up trimming a little bit off the sky. If you look at the parking lot light on the far left, I would probably crop down to just above the light fixture, just to tighten it up a bit, but also plumb the center building thing in the background, that it's just slightly off. And it's so easy to level that off in Lightroom or Photoshop. Gorgeous. I mean, this is so soft, but yeah, that cast shadow, it's such a simple thing. Think about the ladybug picture versus this picture. This has that same emptiness, but this beautiful richness of the shadow being symmetrically coming off the handle of that coffee mug. Just really well done. I love the study of the shadows. I'm not so wild about the circle in the wall. I like more of the effect going on in the right side of the picture with the undulations and whatnot. There's a Cuban photographer. He's American now, but he's from Cuba, and he creates camera obscura effects in, I forget his name, I'm blanking his name here, but his work is wonderful. What he'll do is he'll turn like a hotel room into a camera obscura with some famous landmark outside of the hotel room. And then he photographs the effect of the camera obscura happening in the room. So you have the furniture, you have the TV, you have the light fixtures, and on top of it, you'll upside down because it's projected through camera obscura, you'll have like a projection of the Duomo in St. Mark's Square in Venice. It's just really fun stuff when you have this camera obscura effect and the shadows going on. So keep exploring this. I just don't think it's as strong as the other work, primarily just because some elements of that room that you had no control over were fighting you. There you go.
Hey, top 4 images.
So, top 4. Wow, I'm going to give the first to the lone eagle. Then I'm going to give second to the architectural study of the metro. Third is going to go to the coffee cup. Honorable mention would be the tree taking up the parking space. And you said 2?
If you must, I'll let you.
No. I think we have to. I'm going to give the cat honorable mention. Not quite shadow, but I like the shadow effect on the cat's face from the chiaroscuro lighting.
Hey, honorable mention tonight. Those 2, it looks like Beth Fetter.
So that's my cat Milo. I get about 1 week every year where as the sun sets, it goes right on his cat tree. And so every year I try to take a picture of him. So this was a couple years ago.
Marvelous. You should do that every year.
Yeah, it's hard. Oh, only 1 week.
Oh, I know. I have barn cats. They're impossible to photograph.
Oh, this is probably the 4th picture that I've entered into competition of my cat. So everybody knows Milo.
And Doug.
Yeah,
Park
so
next to a
this
tree.
this was just kind of a humorous photo because, people say, where'd you park? And I, say, well, in this case, I parked next to a tree. So kind of a last minute thing. And, just kind of fun, humorous shot.
Well, turn on your level device on your iPhone 12 because just to make sure that you get that plumb going on.
Okay.
3rd place, Robert Miller. I believe I saw him. He's with us tonight. We will surely let him know. 2nd place, Charles Walker, again with a win and not here to claim it. Charles, as we know him, we'll let him know for sure. And 1st place tonight, Beth Fetter.
Oh, thank you. So this was at Conowingo Dam, the day after Thanksgiving. And I'm a new to bird photography. So I kept getting distracted by the shadows, thinking that they were birds jumping off the wall, ready to go fish. So I kept trying to follow the shadows and then realized that they were shadows and then remembered that we have a shadow theme. So that's why I took this picture.
Well, it's a good job.
Thank
love
you.
it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with Walt. I mean, I thought this was a really strong image, and for me, like Walt said, I like the shadow contrasted with the live bird, but the difference in direction caught me as well. So
Yeah.
I liked it. I think it's a well chosen, well deserving first place win.
It allows the eye to move, having the birds flying in different directions, but also forming sort of a triangle between the bird that's on top of the wall that we see with the bottom bird right below it. Your eye will go from the real bird down to the bottom shadow and then back up to the other two shadows.
Yeah, thank you. There was one more shadow off to the right, and I cropped it out to try to do the rule of threes.
It would have ruined
Yeah.
the picture.
Yeah.
Good choice. Good choice on the cropping. Well done. All right, let me move this down to best in show, and Walt has one last task to accomplish tonight. Best in show, sir. Do you want me to show them in full size, or are you good to go?
Yeah, let's see them big again. I know I have two that I'm kind of fighting between. Yeah, the repelling man on the roof there is so well seen, and it's something that it was fleeting. It's like the 1 foot in the air. It's so well seen, but also so fleeting that the photographer has to be super aware, because the moment is gone in a split second. It's really gorgeous.
Cartier-Bresson's decisive moment, eh?
Well, there's many decisive moments, but this one happens to be the winner's decisive moment.
Yes, it was well done. So congratulations, Daryl. Best in show, sir.
Thank you very much, and appreciate the feedback. That's one of the things I enjoy about the competitions, and as well the critiques. As somebody else said earlier, I've always learned something from doing these. So thank you.
Yeah, look at that foot off the deck there, where you have the bright area just around. See how the other shadow from the foot, and you just have that cutout. I mean, just remarkable. That cutout is so strategically placed so that the heel of the workman's boot is just perfectly framed there. I mean, if you were just a nanosecond late or early, you wouldn't have had that effect.
Well, most of life is being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, F8 and be there.
Yeah, exactly. But the harder you work, the luckier you get, right?
That's what Thomas Jefferson said.
Yep. All right, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Congratulations to all the winners. Really well done. But
also congratulations to everyone who's willing to enter. I mean, it takes a little bit of gumption, particularly the novice category. Hats off to everyone for just trying. It means that you're committed to your photography, and just keep going.
Could not have said it better myself. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here.